Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another important live video update tonight. So I've obviously been out and about traveling around and one of the things that has really struck me is how significantly the whole revenue raising scam has been just dramatically increased over the past couple of weeks. I did a single 2.5 hour drive over this past weekend and saw no less than 6 police and speed cameras in one 2.5 hour drive. It is absolutely crazy, and given how many people have been emailing us, asking us questions about how to challenge fines from all around the country, this seems to be something that is going on right now in all of the states. Clearly all the state governments are running out of money because of all the COVID rescue packages and all the rest of the rubbish that they've been handing money out willy-nilly, that they now need to recoup some and recover some. And obviously a bit of blatant revenue raising on our streets is one of the simplest ways for them to do that. So please be careful out there. Please do keep your eyes open, because they've been hiding in all sorts of crazy spaces. And what I found, the number of fines for these ridiculous, arbitrary, 5 and 10 kilometres over the, over the limit is just nuts. And they're going hell for leather to, I don't know, they need to fund the police Christmas parties or something. I don't know what it is, but they're definitely out there in force. So do beware. One of the other things I've noticed is, strangely, a whole heap of roads that were safe to drive at, 80 k's before COVID, now apparently they're only safe to drive at 60 k's, or roads that were okay to drive at 100 k's before COVID are now magically only safe to drive at 80 k's. I'm sure some of you who are watching this have noticed similar things in some of your areas. So they are artificially reducing the speed limits just so that they can catch more people out and raise some more revenue. So please be aware of that. Obviously, we have an entire chapter. It's chapter 1 of our book. It's all about fines, covers all of the background to fines, covers some really important, really powerful case precedents that you can rely on in relation to fines. So make sure you grab that. And of course, Aussie Speeding Fines has a whole book dedicated to how to challenge all unjust and unlawful fines. They, of course, have that tried and tested 3-step process that members have been using for over 12 years now to successfully challenge all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. So please do be sure to check those out. There's links in the description. As I've said before, if you're a motorist in this country, you've got to have that book. And look, if Christmas is only a few weeks away, so if you know a fellow motorist that doesn't have that book, why not consider getting something like that as a Christmas gift for someone? It's going to be remembered and appreciated for far longer than a bottle of grog or a box of chocolates. So anyway, something to think about. Now, the other thing that I've noticed, again, especially over the last few weeks, is how hard the government and media are just constantly pushing for this mandatory vaccination of a virus that has a 99.9% recovery rate. You can't turn on the TV, the radio, anything, open a paper without hearing something about it at the moment. And I don't know if you've been following, but the news out of the UK in the last couple of days is truly scary. It is genuinely, honestly frightening. And given, of course, how closely Australia is linked to the UK, you can bet your bottom dollar that they are going to be bringing in similar things, into Australia very, very early next year. So I want to go through an article. This one's entitled "Pubs, Restaurants and Cinemas Could Deny Entry to People Who Refuse to Get a COVID Vaccine." So you can look this up online, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this is what it says to start with. People could be refused entry to a host of venues if they decline to have a COVID vaccine, a minister has suggested. Nadim Zahawi, who is responsible for the rollout of a vaccine against the virus, has said that it will not be compulsory for people to have an injection. But pubs, restaurants, bars, cinemas and sports venues are all expected to be among the venues that could refuse entry to people who have not been vaccinated. Mr. Zahawi has suggested that businesses may require proof of vaccination before allowing people in, and confirmed that the government was considering giving those who have had the jab an immunity passport to show that they'd received it. Speaking to the BBC, he said, "We are looking at the technology and, of course, a way of being able to inform their GP that they have been vaccinated. But also, I think you'll probably find that restaurants and bars and cinemas and other venues, sports venues, will probably also use that system as they have done with the Test and Trace app. I think that in many ways, the pressure will come from both ways, from service providers who'll say, look, demonstrate to us that you've been vaccinated, but also we will make the technology as easy and accessible as possible." Gee, how kind and convenient of them. When asked what those who refuse to get vaccinated to do in the event they are restricted entry from venues, Mr. Zahawi said that people will have to make a decision. However, he warned that many service providers will want to engage with this in the way they did with the app. Now, again, I don't know if you've been following the news in the UK, but they are talking about having a vaccine ready to administer in as soon as just the next few weeks. This is how close they are to trialling this in the UK. Okay, this is seriously, seriously scary stuff, people. So again, I urge you, please do not wait until they lay the bills and proposed bills at the table of Parliament. Okay, get on to those My Will letters. Okay, there they are in bonus chapter 1, the mandatory vaccinations chapter of our book. The very simple, straightforward My Will letter that you can easily amend and adapt and send off and say, we do not consent to these mandatory vaccinations, forced vaccinations, missing out on being able to attend places, see people, get government benefits. Okay, it is my will that. Okay, when you read the letter, you'll understand how to draft it. But it's very, very powerful. But we need everybody doing it. You need to send it to your local MPs, your state MPs, your federal MPs, the health minister, everybody you can think of. When these corporations like Qantas, Ticketmaster start saying, oh no, you can't use our services unless you get a vaccine, use those same My Will letters. We need everybody bombarding them now. Okay, it does work. Okay, I read an article out of Denmark just this week. Apparently, people, of course, there's nothing in the mainstream media about it, but if you look hard enough, you'll find it. And people were out the steps of the parliament in Denmark because they were proposing these similar forced mandatory vaccinations there. People camped out for 9 days with just pots and pans and banging and protesting, and the government withdrew those proposals. They withdrew that legislation. Okay, so people power most assuredly can and does work, but again, we all need to get together. We all need to be doing this collectively, and we need to keep it up. Don't just send one letter off and say, oh, okay, well, I've done my bit. Keep going. Keep finding new people that you can send these letters to. And then, of course, once you've done it, encourage others through social media, through emails, at gatherings, whatever you can, encourage others to do the same thing. That's how we will bring an end to this madness and this insanity, okay, of wanting to forcibly vaccinate everybody against a virus that hasn't even been isolated yet. Please let us not forget that. What the hell is this virus going to do against a virus that hasn't, what's this vaccination going to do against a virus that hasn't even been isolated, okay? It's crazy, but the people are just watching the idiot box and they're completely brainwashed and they don't get it. And we, those of us who are awake, need to get out there and start asking people these questions, start pointing these facts out to people. Okay, very, very important. Okay, and then finally tonight I want to finish off by sharing an email that we got from one of our members who's only come across us and our information quite early this year, and he's already implemented our actual information and generated some really great success. So sometimes it's hard for us to really convey the true power and effectiveness of our information, of our books, without sounding like, oh, we're just trying to sell a book, okay? Yes, of course, we get the odd troll on here going, oh, Mike's just trying to sell his book. But any of you who've been watching these for a while will know that we give plenty of completely free information on all the websites. You can see the links there in the description. We run completely free radio shows, each and every week. we have done for 6 years. I've been doing these live video updates completely free for 6 months now. Yes, of course, there is information over and above that, and hopefully those of you watching this will understand that we do genuinely care, and we are obviously here to honestly help people and to make a difference. But as I said, for me to say, it's a little bit hard sometimes. So it's great when someone, one of our members, writes to us and actually puts that in words, how effective and really how truly empowering the information has been for them, because that's the one thing that's hard to get across. So I'm just going to read this out. This is from a gentleman called Mark. He was so keen to send us this. He wanted to send us goodies and packages for Christmas and everything. So look, just the fact that you've done well is thanks enough. This is hi Mike, happy to send something to your PO box. I'd like to do this because, as I've said many times, the information and help you've provided is priceless. 9 months ago, I didn't know anything about my rights or about the law. Without exaggerating, the knowledge has really opened a huge door, allowing me to make better decisions in most aspects of my life. The realisation, for example, of corporations dancing around as government bodies has changed my whole outlook. I looked up Yarra Valley Water's net profit, and they boasted we outperformed our financial targets this year with a net profit after tax of $104.4 million. I decided to put my knowledge to a test. I contacted them and explained the government's closure of the economy affected my earnings, and I requested a discount. Immediately they said, we can't discount, but you can apply for JobSeeker. To which I pointed out it's funded by the taxpayers. So I said, your corporation boasted net profit after tax of $104.4 million. I'm sure you can work out a deal for me. The response was silence for a few seconds. Then, okay, Mr. Such and Such, I'll pass you on to our head financial person. Long story short, I pointed out their net profits, and she kindly provided me with a payment plan that helps reduce the balance on my account by providing bonus credits and potential debt write-off over the course of the next 12 months. My accountant worked out I'll be saving 35%. Had I not read the Know Your Rights book, I could not have negotiated that deal. It's all back to the ancient Roman maxim, he who would be deceived, let him be deceived. I've challenged the council on my rates with caution after you advised me about the ability to take my house. Initially, I demanded they cease all rates until Andrews restores the economy back to normality, which we know is not going to happen. I'm sure they thought, who the hell is this guy? But I dropped that demand upon your advice. Instead, just like with Yarra Valley Water, I pointed out the destruction of the state economy was no fault of my own, and I'm struggling and therefore would like a discount. At first, they insisted I fill out their online form and I was to provide all of my private information requested on the form. I thought if I fill out their form, I'd be contracting with them and agreeing to their terms. Sort of an acquiescence. To be honest, I had no idea if that's actually the case. Nevertheless, I pointed out that Manningham Council is a private corporation and has no lawful right to obtain private and personal information of a citizen, and that seeing I didn't work for them, I'm not obligated by law to follow their rules. To my surprise, they agreed. I could fill out what I was comfortable with, and that's all. I also pointed out that council receives grant funding from the federal and state governments. I didn't know that until I read the Know Your Rights book. I told them I wanted to know council's reasons and justification in increasing rates by 3% at the height of Victoria's devastating economic climate, where people were losing their livelihoods and businesses. I told them that Yarra Valley Water Corporation provided me with a payment plan without demanding my private information, and would they please do the same for me. I haven't heard anything back yet. We'll see what happens. If I don't get my way, at least I can say I tried. At the Cup Day protest upon arrival, a cop tried to interrogate me, and I said, are you detaining me for the purposes of facilitating an investigation? I've heard you say this so many times. He just gave me a look and said, no, I'm not, and walked away. When they were demanding details to find everyone, I said, I'll give you my information under duress only. Well, they didn't bloody well like that. The cop looked at the sergeant just nodded, and then the cop went to hand me the fine. I said, I don't agree or consent to it. I don't want it. They said they were to mail it to me instead. I videoed the whole thing. I wouldn't have known to do that if I hadn't learned it from you guys. One of the most deep, satisfying results from the Know Your Rights stuff has been teaching a friend of mine what I've learnt. Without going into detail, the DHHS has been trying to take his kids away from him after false allegations from his ex-wife. They didn't succeed, but they were still harassing him. They've been carrying on as if they are part of the government and could do anything they want. I made him aware they're a private corporation and not part of the government. This has given him a sense of empowerment and confidence, and he's already pointed out some unlawful behaviour and claims to them which made them back off. It's only the beginning for him. I'm actually going to purchase the 3 books for him for Christmas, and I know he'll absorb them like a sponge. Anyway, I've been rambling on. Sorry about that. Hope you have a great break. Relax. You've earned it. Cheers, Mark. So this is just an example of how many different ways one person in just a few months has successfully used and implemented our information. So I urge you, please go to the links in the description, have a read over all the completely free information on the websites first, and then if you like what you see there and you'd like some more detailed step-by-step processes, please consider grabbing some of those books. Now, I have been looking online. Australia Post have made it clear that their cut-off for Christmas is going to be the 19th of December. Okay, so we want to ensure that everyone who wants access to our information over the Christmas break, or of course anyone who wants to get our information as a gift for someone and ensure that it arrives for Christmas, that they have that opportunity to do so. So what we're doing is an extra incentive, is we're giving everyone who orders just the Know Your Rights hard copy book on its own one of our special new tote bags. So any hard copy Know Your Rights book, you'll get one of the Know Your Rights tote bags. Anyone who orders any of our combo packs, you'll usually get 1 free tote bag with that, and we're going to offer a bonus one, so you get 2 free tote bags for anyone who gets any of our combos, the Ultimate Combo, Platinum Combo, where you get all 3 books. So it's just a little extra bonus that we want to give people as a bit of an extra incentive for those of you who want to get this information in time for Christmas, so you can sit down over the Christmas break and absorb it all, or of course, as I said, if you want to get it as a gift for someone, something a little bit special, a little bit different. So they will be handed out between now and the 19th of December, bonus tote bags, basically for any Know Your Rights or combo orders. So I'm going to leave it there. As always, I do urge you all to please get informed, get fired up, and get proactive. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. I look forward to speaking to you all on Tuesday night on our radio show. Don't forget to tune in between 8 and 10 p.m. Just go to knowyourrightsgroup.com.au/radio-show, and you'll be able to listen to us live on the air. Talk to you all then.